This call is now being recorded.
Hi, good evening to all of you. So today we will continue our lesson with Form 1, Chapter 1. We go to subtopic 1.6 steps in a scientific investigation. Okay, what we learned today in 1.6, we learn differentiate each science process skill. And then number 2, make a sequence on the steps of carrying out a scientific investigation in the correct order. And third, here states here conduct scientific investigation to solve simple problem. Other one we will do it later, not today. After 1.6, we will go to 1.7. Okay. So let me read here. Recall the science process skills that you have learned in primary school, sekolah rendah. There are 12 important science process skills in a scientific investigation. So can you differentiate each skill? So how many science process skill? We have 12. 12, we have 12. So start with this one. Observing, classify. Observing tu memerhati, tengok. Observing. Okay. And then classifying, this one. Classifying, mengelaskan. And then third, measuring and using numbers. Measuring, mengukur dan menggunakan nombor. Fourth, making inference. I will explain to you what is inference later. And then predicting, meramalkan. Communicating, berkomunikasi, cara kita sampaikan. And then using time space relationship, gunakan hubungan masa dan ruang. And then interpreting data, menganalisis atau menterjemahkan data, biasanya dalam bentuk draft. Defining operationally, and then controlling variables. Variables, we'll go more on this one. We have 3 types of variables. Okay. And then making a hypothesis, and then experimenting. However, today we want to this one, experimenting. Okay. So this is the activity to differentiate each science process skills. Okay. Scientific method. What is scientific method? Scientific method is a systematic method used to solve problems in science. This method consists of a few important steps to enable a problem to be solved or explained using the correct method. So number 1, identify a problem. Mengenal pasti masalah. Identify a problem that could be tested with a scientific investigation. I like this one in the picture, dalam gambar ni. The picture says here, oops, I spilled the water. Alamak, saya tertumpahkan air. What can I use to absorb the water quickly? Apa yang saya boleh guna untuk menyerap air ni dengan cepat? So macam mana dia nak buat? How she want to absorb the water, spill on the table. Okay. So that is the problem. And then number 2, construct a hypothesis. We do a hypothesis first. So we need to build a hypothesis as an initial explanation of the observation or phenomenon being investigated. The hypothesis has to be tested. Here, maybe his brother says here, cloth towel absorbs water more quickly than tissue paper. Dia cakap kain tuala menyerap air lebih cepat berbanding tisu, kertas tisu. Is it correct? This one, sister using a tissue, Abah using cloth towel. Which one is faster? Okay, so we can conduct an experiment. Number 3, control variables. Identify the type of variables involved. Variables are physical quantities that influence the observation or scientific phenomena, and it consists of manipulated variables, constant variables, and responding variables. Okay, let me draw for you. Okay, there are 3 important things in control variables, in variables. So there are 3 types of variables. First is manipulated. First is manipulated variables. Second, constant variables. And third, responding variables. Okay. What is manipulated? manipulated variables meaning variables that we can change. We change the variables. Kita yang ubah. We change the variables. Like maybe the length, panjang dia, or maybe the time. We can change it. Okay. And then number 2 here is constant variables. Constant meaning tidak berubah. All the time will be same. Dia takkan berubah. Constant variables. And then responding variables. Responding meaning they respond. Whatever we manipulate here, it will respond here. The variable will be respond. Examples. Assume that in this experiment, the manipulated variables here are 2 here. First tissue, manipulated, first tissue, second curve tower. First tissue, nombor 2 kain, that is manipulated. We change the item here. First tissue, second curve tower. The responding variables, is the how much time it takes to absorb the water. Berapa lama atau berapa cepat dia boleh serap air ni. Constant variables is the water, the volume of water. Volume of water doesn't change, sama saja tidak berubah air dia. Except that tisu atau tuala ini lebih cepat absorb the water. Which one is faster? Which one is better? That is the manipulated and responding variables. Okay, we'll go more on this one later. Number 4, plan and experiment. We have to design an experiment carefully beforehand. We also need to choose the right materials and apparatus. Apparatus tu peralatan for the experiment. Materials are such like a liquid, that is materials, or chemical. Okay, number 5, conduct the experiment. While conducting the experiment, precautions must be practiced at all times to obtain a more accurate data. Safety measures must also be followed to prevent accidents, especially in the science lab. We need to be extra careful. Okay. Now we go to the next slide. Number 6, collect data. Data collection is carried out carefully using suitable instruments while taking into consideration any random or systematic error that might occur. Make sure the measurements are carried out at least 3 times to obtain a more accurate and precise reading. Use a table to record your data. So example, if you're using a ruler to measure something, we measure the item 3 times to make our observation more accurate. Okay. Number 7, analyze and interpret data. Analyze must be accompanied by effective communication forms such as graphs and tables. Graphs and tables assist us to easily interpret the data. So this is how we interpret the data. We can interpret data with other type of graph. We can use pie chart or line graph. Also can, no problem. Okay. Number 8, make a conclusion. Conclusions are made based on experimental analysis. Either hypothesis is accepted or rejected. If rejected, you need to make a new hypothesis and carry out the experiment again. So this is conclusion. Like this experiment. His brother said that core tower quicker absorb the water compared to the tissue. So is the hypothesis correct or not? We can either accept or we can reject the hypothesis. So like this one, the brother said we need to carry out the measurement at least 3 times to get an correct reading. Okay. So if we check here, actually tissue is better. Okay. So we can reject the hypothesis after we doing the experiment and make a conclusion. Okay. Number 9, this is also important. Write a report. When writing a report, all important data and information must be included. So in the report, we should have problem statement, hypothesis, aim is our aim, tujuan. Okay. and then variables. Variables, there are three types of variables. There are three types of variables. Then materials and apparatus, procedure, observation results, analysis and interpretation of data, conclusion. Okay, so this is an example of a complete experiment report. For today's class, we just go through this experiment. Maybe I will record other video focus on this experiment only. That one I will do later. For today, we go through only this one. Okay. So experiment 1.1. Identify the problem. Says here, problem statement. How does the length of a pendulum? This is pendulum. Influence the period of one complete oscillation. So from A to B, go back to A, we call as one complete oscillation. Okay. Hypothesis. Remember hypothesis, we can accept or reject. Okay. Hypothesis. The longer the length of a pendulum, the longer the period taken for one complete oscillation. Dia cakap kalau tali ini lagi panjang, pendulum ni pusing lagi lama, lagi lambat. Kalau lagi pendek, lagi cepat. Kalau panjang, lagi lambat. Complete oscillation. Okay. So, this is the apparatus. We have a retort stand, we have wood here, we have pendulum, we have string. Okay. So, manipulated variable. Variable yang kita boleh ubah. Manipulated variable is the length of pendulum. Tali ini, tali ini, length, dia punya panjang dia, pendek atau panjang. There is manipulated. Kita boleh ubah-ubah panjang dia, pendek atau panjang. Okay. Responding variable, meaning lepas kita ubah ni apa jadi? Itu maksud dia. So in this time is time taken for 10 complete oscillation. So bila kita ubah tali itu jadi pendek, masanya jadi cepat atau lagi lambat. Okay, that is responding. Respond to the manipulated variable. Okay, and then constant variable yang tidak berubah. Like this one, mass of pendulum. Ini pendulum ni kita tak ubah, pakai yang sama saja. The same pendulum. And then number 2 is angle of oscillation. Angle is this one, sudut, angle, angle of the oscillation. Okay, meaning we drag the A to the same angle, even though the length of the pendulum here is different. Okay. Materials and apparatus. So, wood, retort stand with clamp, pendulum, string, stopwatch, and meter ruler. All of this is the materials and apparatus. Motor apparatus. Okay. Procedure. A pendulum with a length of 20 cm is used. The pendulum is pulled to one side and then released to make 10 complete oscillations. The time taken for 10 complete oscillations is recorded. The experiment is repeated using different lengths of pendulum. Okay, so this is the results. For 20 cm, the average reading is 9.1. We make it longer, 30 cm, lagi panjang, longer. The average time will be 11.4. So lagi panjang, lagi lama. 40 cm length of pendulum, the average time taken is 13.1. 50 become 14.3, 60 become 15.2 seconds. Okay. So this one in table, and then this one we interpret the data from the table using a graph. Okay. So this one says here, we can conclude here, the longer the length of the pendulum, the longer the time taken for 10 complete oscillations. So this axis for length of pendulum in cm, and y-axis for time taken for 10 complete oscillations in seconds. Okay. Next. Number 7, make a conclusion. Conclusion, hypothesis is accepted. Okay. So the longer the length of the pendulum, the longer the time taken for 10 complete oscillations. Okay. Now we go to formative practice 1.6. Okay. What is an inference? What is inference? Okay. I'll read here already. Inference. Okay. Inference is the reason or cause for the observation of a phenomenon. And this is the definition of inference. Again, inference equal to, or inference is the reason or cause for the observation of a phenomenon. Phenomenon. So inference tu adalah sebab, sebab kepada pemerhatian sesuatu fenomena. The reason or cause for the observation of a phenomenon. Okay. So we finish 1.6 already. Now we go to 1.7. So today's lesson very short. Okay, 1.7 scientific attitudes, sikap, sifat and values in carrying out scientific investigations. Okay. So what are the scientific approach and values that must be practiced by a scientist? Okay. Students must have positive attitudes and values while conducting investigation. So we have 3 here stated scientific attitudes that should be practiced. First, be interested, berminat, and curious, mengambil tahu, ataupun sering bertanya lah, about surroundings, selalu tertanya. About surroundings adalah sekeliling. So be interested and curious about surroundings. Be honest, jujur, and accurate. Accurate itu tepat. While recording and validating data. So bila ambil data tu, kita record data, catat data, buat pemerhatian, jujur dan ambil record tu secara tepat. Be honest and accurate. Okay. Third, be responsible for your own and other safety as well as for the environment. So this is important, especially in the science lab. We need to be responsible, and also make sure safety. We take account the safety to ourselves and also to our friends and also to the teacher. Okay, and also for the environment. Okay, so we have 3 scientific attitudes and moral values. Okay, so this is science in life. This is last one. Why do we need to practice scientific attitudes and values during a scientific investigation? Okay, the purpose is to get more accurate results, to be an effective decision maker, willing to change and adapt to new ideas. Besides, we can also become good problem solvers and responsible and creative researchers. Okay, so we conclude already 1.6 and 1.7. Okay, now we go to quizzes. I want all of you to go to these quizzes and try to answer the question. Okay. Okay. So now I paste the link here. So all of you, please click on this link and join the quizzes. Tekan link ini, masuk dalam quizzes. So if you are using your handphone, you go to the in-call message and then click the link. Kalau guna handphone, tekan in-call message and then click the link. Go to the quizzes. Okay, Tio Kaini already in. Javen already in. Okay, 6 ready. Yan Jai, Go Yuan Shi, Artis Warren. Oh, Artis Warren ada. Tan Pro. Okay, very good. Okay, 7 student ready. We have how many today? -3, 13 student. Ying, Ko Yong Kian, Another 5 student, lagi 5 orang. Lim Jia sudah masuk. Okay, so Hui En, okay, 10. Another 3 student, lagi 3 orang. Okay, maybe we can check. Okay. Nah, only 10 Baru 10 orang ni. Emily sudah masuk atau belum? Mana Emily? Where is Emily? Emily not yet. Lok Jifu sudah masuk? Lok Jifu pun belum lagi. Emily pun belum. Yong Chirong pun belum lagi. Come on. Okay, I think I start now. Only 10 students. Okay, let me start. Okay, so number 1, the following are a few steps in the scientific investigation. Arrange the steps in the correct sequence. You can click the picture. You can click the picture to make it bigger. Boleh tekan gambar tu. You can click on the picture to make it bigger. So this is the picture. Making a conclusion, controlling the variables, analyzing data, making a hypothesis, planning the steps in the experiment. Okay, very good. Go Yuan Shin, Lim Jia Yi, Ko Yong Kian. Okay, so next question. 5 students got correct answer. 5 orang dapat jawab betul. Next question. Eddie carried out an experiment to study the change in the length of shadow when the distance of object changed. He arranged the apparatus as in the diagram below. State the manipulated variable. Okay, you can click the picture. This is the picture. Manipulated variable. What is the manipulated variable? Okay, very good. Next question. Same question, except this time, same question, soalan sama je, except this one is responding variable, responding variable. Is it the distance between object and torch, or distance between screen or size object, height of shadow or shape of object? Which one? Responding. Bertindak balas. Oh, Go Yuan Shin still number 1 now. Okay, very good. Question number 4, same question, still same question. But this time constant, I think. Yeah, constant variable. This time constant variable. Same question. Soalan sama. but this time is constant variable. Which one is the constant variable? Okay, time's up. Okay, now number one is Lim Jia Yi. Very good. Number two, Ko Yong Kian. Okay, last question. Question number 5. The last question. Which is not the scientific attitudes that should be practiced? Yang mana bukan, which is not. Either be interested and curious about surrounding, be honest and accurate while recording and validating data, be responsible for your own and other safety as well as for the environment, or be careless and irresponsible while conducting an experiment. Which one? A, B, C, or D? This one in topic 1.7 actually. Time's up. Okay. So we check the leaderboard. Let me show you the leaderboard. Okay, we end the quiz now. Okay, now you can go back to the Google Meet. Okay, so number one is Ko Yong Kian. Very good. Number two, Lok Jifu. And number 3 is Atis Waran. Okay, congratulations. Ko Yong Kian, Lok Jifu, Atis Waran. Number 4 is Go Yuan Shin. Number 5 is Lim Jia Yi. Okay, congratulations. So we exit this quizzes, go back to the Google class, Google Meet. Okay, so however, our class today end already, and we end our lesson already today. So that's all for today. Okay, I will stop this recording now.